All right, I've got 6 o'clock. Please silence your devices. So at 6 o'clock, call this meeting in the Saginaw City Council to order. Please rise for the pledges. Item 1C is the invocation. I don't think we have anybody for the invocation. Do I have a volunteer from the audience, from the council? Anybody want to volunteer if you're feeling so moved? Qualifications are very low, so.
Mayor, I'll pray.
You want to do it? John, thank you.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the opportunity to gather here and just go over this business items. We hope that you will guide us in our vision here and make it be aligned with your vision. And we thank you for all the audience participation, everyone who's watching online, and we thank you for the great council of leaders and staff. I ask that you bless this meeting. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Sean. 1D is audience participation. You can speak on any item that is listed on the agenda. You're allowed to speak on those as well. We've got forms over there by the chief. If it's a public hearing, I will call for folks. You do not need to fill out a form for a public hearing. 2 is the consent agenda. Oh, that's wind. Sorry, that's wind on my microphone. It's sensitive. All right. Consent agenda. 2A, action regarding approval of minutes from June 17th. 2B, action regarding ordinance 2025-14. 2C, action regarding approval of purchase order for cabling and Wi-Fi equipment for the library. 2D, action regarding ad valorem tax collection contract with Tarrant County. 2E, action regarding Belt Mill PID district assessment collection contract with Tarrant County. 2F, action regarding Park Board 2025 train and grain ride sponsorship. 2G, action regarding approval of resolution 2025-13 authorizing city enter an advance funding agreement with TxDOT. 2H, action regarding resolution 2025-14 suspending the July 31st effective date of the Encore delivery company's requested rate change. And 2I, consideration action regarding a memorandum of understanding between the City of Saginaw and the Community Link for the Vendor Management 2025 Train and Grain Festival. Any questions, comments on the consent agenda?
Mayor, I would like to discuss 2I.
Aye. All right, so we will pull 2I. I will entertain a motion for 2A through H.
Mayor, I make a motion we approve items, consent agenda items 2A through 2H.
Okay.
I second.
Valerie, second. Motion passes. Let the record reflect we have a quorum, a full house tonight. Thank you all for coming, folks. All right, 2I, consideration action regarding memorandum of understanding between the City of Saginaw and Community Link for the vendor management for the 2025 Train and Grain Festival. Pedro.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Well, this is not my microphone, this is Trent's, and it's a little loud. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you is the memorandum of understanding between the City of Saginaw and Community Link. They will be doing the vendor management for the Train and Grain. As you recall, we moved Train and Grain from the high school to Willow Creek Park. They have an established vendor repertoire because the farmers market that they've been doing, I believe, since 2021. It's before my time. And with that, I'll take any questions or comments.
Yeah, so I had sent you an email, and I just got the response to it about the vendor list, and I just wanted to know, I know that I had asked if we could put some kind of stipulation in there that just said that we would prefer to have more local businesses as far as like the 76179 or 76131 zip code, just because it's different than the farmer's market, and I just would like to see some diversity. It was just something that was brought up to me, and I wanted to at least mention it. I know that your response was that they have a vendor list, and we'll try to work with them in that regard, but I wanted to mention that publicly.
Okay. So,
And my thought on this is, and this is a question, at the Train and Grain Festival, we have a lot more vendors than a normal farmer's market. So I don't think we turn anybody away, and that's a question again,
Right.
for the Training Grain, because farmers market, they do because of limited space, but Training Grain, typically we've had a lot more, and I think we have more space now, so is that a proper assumption I'm still making, Pedro, do you know?
Yeah, we're going to be having more than about 80 vendors
Okay.
there. So there's plenty of space. It's not just going to be confined within the farmers market area. We're going to be expanding a little bit further, closer to the tennis courts as well, a little bit over to that parking lot in between the farmers market and Longhorn. So there's plenty of space. But if
I guess my thought was in the past, I didn't think we really turned anybody away for Training Grain. I don't think so. Have you heard that we did?
No. It was more just, since we're moving it from one location to another and it's in a similar space as where the farmer's market is, I wanted to make sure that it was not gonna be too similar to the farmer's market and it would have an opportunity to be different than the farmer's market, is all.
Okay.
Probably be more like the Christmas holiday market with a lot more vendors.
So I will say, last year at the Training Grain, the vendors they had there, almost 90% of them was just retail to sell. I mean, there wasn't any uniqueness. There wasn't even really that many there. So it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah,
The farmer's market, we have a very good diversity. And I know that the contract comes up every year for us to do the farmer's market every couple of years. And I know that they do give preferential to local grown and to vegetables.
To food related.
Food
Yeah,
stuff.
right.
And I know that there is a pretty extensive list, or there was a pretty good list of trinkets being sold. And I know that several times I went around the farmer's market and asked people and also asked the vendors, and that's one of the things they like, is the relationship we have of not letting these TV type things coming in where, you know, that we are.
yeah, and this was not meant to slight the farmer's market in any way. It's, when I go to the farmer's market, I love the vendors that are there, but when I go and I ask them where they're from all over. And I know that some businesses get turned away because there's already a business that's fitting that spot. And so I don't want anyone, and it may not have ever happened because this is gonna be the first time that we're in this space, but I wouldn't wanna see anyone, you know, turned away because there wasn't space for a local, somebody that was from Saginaw. So I wanna just, you know, have some kind of conversation about that to make sure that happens.
So would you want something added to this?
I mean, I think that staff's recommendation is fine. I just wanted to have an open discussion about it so that it was in public record that we would like to have that happen if possible, but it doesn't need to be in the contract, I don't think. We have a good enough relationship with them and they do a great job, so.
And the feedback I've heard before is of people not getting in, where a lot of them were non-food vendors. That's what I've heard. Because they want more, I mean, our charter says more than 50% have to be food vendors anyhow, so we get a lot of food, as many food as we can, but it's the other folks that I think where the concern arises. Again, I'm asking a question.
Right.
But the crafts, the folks that are not food related. And so those we do at the farmer's market, we say we want fewer of those and more food.
Right.
I mean, more vegetables, food, like you said, so that's what we say. Training Grain is a little different, just because of the way, I think we open up the umbrella a lot bigger for Training Grain.
Right.
At least that's what I've seen in the past and what I think our philosophy has been in the past. And that's sort of a question as well, but I think that's what we've seen. So I hope it's not food that we're getting complaints about not being able to get in, but I'm not sure. That's what I'm asking.
There's no complaints. It's just, this, also I do get feedback from citizens that it's the same people every single time. And so having some variety, I just don't want it to be exactly the same as the farmer's market with the Parks Board sponsorship, carnival type stuff. I want it to be more than that. So that's all.
How many vendors did you say we had come in so far?
for currently or for Training Grain last year?
For Training Grain this year?
This year, I do not have the number in front of me. It's whatever farmer's market has for their Christmas event, which is about 90 to 100 vendors.
I'm hoping we're going to have alcohol-related ones there this year. That's my, my hope, so.
Well, then, Mayor, I make a motion that we pass 2I.
2I. Brack, second, okay. Motion passes. Thank you, guys. All right, going to 3A, employee recognition presentation. Gabe, what do we have?
Mayor and council, pleased to recognize some employees tonight. We also have a reigning champion in our midst, so with that, I will defer to Pedro.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. If you recall, June 28th, we had some minor explosions, controlled explosions at the school, led to fireworks. It was a very lovely event. But the thing is, that event is great, but the reason why that event happened is because of our great employees and our great volunteers. So I want to recognize them tonight. As you can see, some volunteers right there. Lieutenant Crippen is definitely working very hard, not just on his phone, so I'll point that out.
So with that picture, were you swearing the judges in, or what?
You know, I believe so. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to point over to Alina. I was dressing up. I was helping the guy dress up as a taco. So our City Hall folks, they did such a great job. Melanie, Vicky, Lynn, Kim, John, Elizabeth, Maricela, Alina, and myself. Gabe's in there as well. We'll recognize Gabe. I don't know if he's on the list, but he was there as well. From the rec center, we had Jason and Vicky, such a great team as well. Our fire folks, they wanted to inspect that belt, make sure it was good to go for the winter. I think they wanted to take it, so I think they might compete next year if the chief allows them. But we have Scott, John, Tanner, Anthony, Eric, Kyle, David, Garrett, and Levi. And from the police department, they did such a great job making sure our crowd control was there, and they did a really great job. So we have all these officers listed: Brandon, Joshua, Alexis, Timothy, Clayton, Joseph, Corey, Aaron, I don't know why I wanted to say Aaron, but James, Officer Hopkins, and Lonnie, and Dustin Mayhew, which he was on the bicycle. He did such a great job doing the police work. And of course, our Public Works Department, without them being the backbone of the event, your trash cans would not be emptied out. The restroom trailer wouldn't be there. So I really want to recognize Randy's guys out there who are Brendan, Raiden, Dalen, Jared, Jeremy, Doug, Maria, Ronnie, Ryan, Aaron, Juan, Glenn. I'm missing some people on this list, I believe. I think Dusty's on here. Yeah. Oh, they're on the next list. Felipe, Christopher, Angel, Dusty, and Jacob. And of course, we have our reigning champion, Felipe, who ate 9 tacos in 10 minutes, and then for the tiebreaker, ate about 3-4 bites or the whole thing. I wasn't there. I was too busy watching the other guy lose it all. Our inspections team is Maria and Jennifer, and Animal Services Jose. And our library folks, Megan, Christy, Ronnie. I would say this is one of my favorite pictures from the event. As you can see, Christy is just shouting at her person and saying, "Do not lose," because he was about to lose it into the bucket. And by far, if y'all know Christy, she's a very nice person. She's our children's librarian. I want to frame this and put it in the new library so bad. So hopefully she allows me to. And with that, if I called your name and you're in the room, can you please come up and we're going to take a quick group photo. And of course, we're going to have Felipe in the middle holding up his championship belt. So if you want to give a round of applause to our employees who made such this event possible.
Thank you, folks. Great event. Gabe, what else do we have under recognitions?
I think that's all.
Is that it? Okay. All right, next we have Maria present to a very special person who is not dressed up. I'm a little disappointed in his outfit this evening, so.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So today, the Public Works Department would like to recognize the outstanding commitment and invaluable contributions made by Thomas Weaver, the former chairman of the Parks Advisory Board. Mr. Weaver joined the board on June 16, 2020, serving for 5 years. His dedication has been instrumental in enhancing Saginaw's open spaces and inevitably improving the quality of life for our residents. The chairman's exemplary leadership and vision have been pivotal in driving successful park improvements, most notably seen in the Parks Board's allocation of funds for the Parks Bond, which has facilitated the restoration and enhancement of our playgrounds, the addition of essential amenities at our parks, and the comprehensive update of our parks master plan. We wish him the best in his future endeavors and extend our deepest gratitude for his years of exceptional service. Thank you. Alina, where do you want him to stand?
Do we have a certificate? Suitable for framing because it is framed.
Thomas, we have some of the Parks Board members here as well. Take a picture with you.
We are selfishly very sad to see Thomas go, but we do appreciate his service. He's done great work. I felt very good about the Parks Board in his hands, so we look forward to much more from you in the future, though, right? He's a good man. All right, anything else on this one? All right, I'm going to call an audible and move a couple of things forward based on input from some of the presenters. So I'm going to move 5C up. We will do 5C now. Consideration action regarding amending the zoning ordinance for the City of Saginaw pertaining to regulation of carports. Fire Chief Doug Spears.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm hopeful this particular ordinance is the last time we'll see it for a while anyway. The subcommittee met along with staff, had some productive discussions. A small and important addition was made to the carport ordinance, represented as 1J. It's in the ordinance before you. While staff remains neutral in the action you're taking, staff sees no compliance with the presented ordinance. I believe it is written in the best structure possible if the intent is to move the SUP ordinance. Staff's here to answer questions. So with that, I'll just remind you, it'll take a supermajority to take action on the ordinance to get it approved. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Council questions for Chief? I'll entertain a motion then.
Mayor, I move that we approve it.
Thank you, Nick. Motion passes. Chief, thank you. Thank you for your hard work.
Yes, sir, that's a lot of people involved in that.
No, a lot of folks really appreciate that, getting that put together. We're also going to move 5G up to this point, based on input from the people involved in this. So 5G, presentation of the wastewater and wastewater rate study. For that, Kim Quinn, Finance Director.
Mr. Mayor, Matthew Garrett from New Gen is here to make a presentation.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, members of council. Matthew Garrett with NewGen Strategies and Solutions. Thank you very much, Kim. Also, thank you for being accommodating of the timing this evening.
Absolutely.
Really pleased to present this to you. It's one of the better stories I get to share with city councils around water and wastewater rates. This time of year is tough for budget for a lot of reasons. The utility here in Saginaw, I hope, is not. Generally, a rate study is to make sure that the utility, right, enterprise fund is self-supporting generally, that it's solvent, that it's healthy, that it has a plan for the future, and you certainly do through your staff and their input. We want to make sure that we're able to fund this $13.8 million of capital as we see it over the next 5 years. Additionally, we want to make sure that you're maintaining your debt service coverage and key metrics. So ultimately, we did develop a 10-year model. We'll be discussing that more at length with your staff. But tonight, we're going to show you a 5-year perspective because, as with all cities, years 7 through 10 are hazy, right? So focus on what we know with more certainty. So very generally, expenses are projected to increase year over year at a rate of 3.9% over the next 5. Of that, and we'll show you a chart in just a minute, wholesale makes up the lion's share. Over 2/3 of your budget is from your wholesale cost. Those are unavoidable. It's probably the best source of water and wastewater treatment you have, but it's expensive. Ultimately, we did put in rates that smooth out the impact to your customers over time, as opposed to waiting until you have to and taking a big bite. We believe in a metered approach. It's called rate gradualism in our industry. I believe that's espoused here, and I believe that was the druthers of staff. So that's what we employed, and so you're going to see a steady Eddie approach as opposed to waiting until we're backed in a corner. Lastly, the result, and we'll share this up front, is a 3.25% increase recommended each year to both water and wastewater against your current rate schedule. So moving into just a quick summary of the total cost over 5 years. You can see your water purchases and that green bar stacked. The sewer purchases, again, make up that 68% number. You have your own O&M costs. You see that's a smaller portion in dark gray. There are some transfers to and from the general fund to pay for the services received there. Lastly, we've layered on your existing debt service plus a small amount of planned debt service as would be needed for that $13 million CIP we discussed. So under current rates, we share this. It's a key dashboard, if you will. This is how we measure the rates and the utility performance and its health, right? And so if you look on the leftmost chart, you have revenues and expenses. That's pretty straightforward. Where the blue revenues, we'd like that to be at or greater than the yellow expenses. It's not if we do not change rates. Everything on this dashboard points to we have to do something. In the middle, of course, debt service coverage. We can't meet that condition in year 29 if we hold the line. And ultimately, we'd be short of our own reserve balance if we do nothing. Maybe this way, that way. I skipped 2, forgive me. And so, again, same dashboard. I like to say the check engine light is off. We have a rate plan, that 3.25% for the next 5 years, with all the other assumptions we've made, show that you're going to be in good territory each year and not in harm's way of your debt service and your reserve policy. Not a lot to do there, but on a 5-year, what is the real impact to a typical customer? That's what this next slide shows. So you'll see that rate increase going from 25 to 26 is about $4.40 to a typical resident using 10,000. Oh, I'm sorry, I've gone too far. $2.96, forgive me, on a resident using 6,000 or 8,000 gallons of water usage and billed the same for the wastewater use over 2,000 gallons. That number rises only to $3.38 year over year by year 2030. So one of the lowest 2030 rates I've shown for a resident this year, and I work with several dozen cities. So as 2030 goes, you're in good shape. I'll go ahead and go to commercial. I've already talked about it. Forgive me for that. But a typical commercial customer will have the same increase. Their rate is going to go up about $4.40 per month for 10,000 gallons of usage. That number rises, as you can see, up to a little over 5 year-over-year change in 2030. All right, and maybe what most are concerned about is how you compare to others. So you compare very well, actually. Your current rates are substantially lower than the relative comparator cities. Even with your rate increase, you're going to stay in the same relative position. Additionally, you have a number of communities that are increasing rates all around you. And so as they go up, your position will only likely improve. I can't speak to North Richland Hills. I don't know that they're going to overtake you, but at the same time, it's good to be on the low side of this chart. So too for commercial, again, here comparing 10,000 gallons. In this comparator case, you're actually the lowest cost water and wastewater in our comparison set. So I may have breezed through this. I hope I didn't go too quickly. But generally, I'm here to answer any questions you have, kind of under the hood, or if there are any details about the study you'd like to talk about. Barring that, I believe you're going to look at the rates to be adopted as a part of the budget at a future meeting. But with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Any questions for Matthew? A very good study. We really appreciate the in-depth, the deep dive, and but the good explanation as well. So we're happy about. I like planning ahead, as looking forward and planning that makes it so much easier in the future. So
Excellent.
appreciate that.
Well, thank you very
All
much.
right, thanks, sir. So there is no action I need to take on that. This is just a presentation, right? All right. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Kim. All right, back to regularly scheduled action. So we're back at 3C. Fiscal year 2025-26 budget workshop. For that, Finance Director Kim Quinn.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. So we're going to continue on. We've got the big budget meeting Saturday, but we'll cover these funds briefly, just so there's more of a general understanding. So it follows the same format as I have in previous council meetings regarding the fund summary. The only difference is now that we had June numbers, the year-to-date actuals are through June, which is 75% of the fiscal year, just for your information. As Matthew just mentioned, as has been current practice or previous practice, we've adjusted rates based on what the city of Fort Worth did for water, wastewater. So we might have a 5 or 6% increase, and then the next year we have a 2% decrease. And so the point of the study was to try to smooth that out, as well as look long-term, because now that we're basically built out with a few exceptions, we want to make sure that we're maintaining the water and wastewater infrastructure. And so the focus is going to be more on maintaining and replacing. And so that's really the focus of the budget for this next year and for the 5-year plan ahead of us. So we're proposing the 3.25% increase for water as well as wastewater. The city of Fort Worth is increasing their water rates. So the amount that we're paying to Fort Worth for water next year will increase by 6.75%. And wastewater is decreasing by 2.69%. The average monthly increase is going to be a little bit more than $2. We had a previous, the rates have changed since we put this together. So we'll adjust that and give, and have specific customer categories and show you the rate increases for those. Included in the proposed budget is Fairmont sewer line replacement. This was planned for this year but is delayed, and so that's why you'll see the estimated expenditures, the green bar under expenditures, are slightly lower than for this year, and then show the increase next year. It also includes the Opal Street water line replacement, the McElroy 12-inch water line, a chloramine facility, and then I&I projects. That's part of the maintenance that I was mentioning, and it will also help with our sewer bill to Fort Worth. If we reduce the amount of inflow and infiltration into our sewer system, it will benefit us as far as having to pay for treating rainwater, which we don't want to be doing. We talked about increasing system maintenance, and also part of that is $100,000 in the budget for contract concrete cut repairs. So instead of pulling the street guys off whatever project they're working on to come fix a street that they had to cut for a repair. We're going to contract that out. That's also going to be easier to, it's harder to get small batches of concrete, whereas a contractor can easily attain that. So there will also be less time that the street or sidewalk or whatever has been disrupted, less time for that to be in disrepair. It also includes 30 water sampling stations and continues the 50% funding for the SHIP program. The next slide is just the numbers behind it. I know some of y'all are numbers people, so I'm including that, but these are the numbers that the graph is based on. And y'all received your binders on Friday, so you have even more numbers if you so wish to look at those. The Enterprise Escrow Fund is where we have accounted for impact fees. We haven't collected impact fees for about 5 years, but we still have a balance there. In fact, part of the 12-inch West McElroy Waterline project is partially funded from the Enterprise Escrow Fund from previously collected impact fees. And so that's why you see the purple line on expenditures for next year increasing, because we plan to do that project next year. It was originally scheduled for this year, so that's why you see the red line under the expenditures, but it's been delayed, so it's estimated to happen next year. That's pretty much all that's going on in the Enterprise Escrow Fund. After we finish this West McElroy 12-inch water line replacement, then there's just one project left for impact fees, and that is a Fort Worth meter station upgrade. That was part of the CIP plan that Trenton went over a couple meetings ago. Again, the numbers behind the graphs. So next is the donations fund. I wanted to mention, because it's been an issue in the past, that the proposed budget for the library, parks, and beautification have all been approved by the boards, the respective boards, and so they're aware. I don't believe we're aware of the proposed rate increase or proposed increase of 50 cents, but the expenditure budgets were all approved by them. The rate for voluntary donations was last increased in fiscal year 19. And so the proposal is to increase that from $1 a month to $1.50 a month. On the expenditure side, there's nothing really new here. Is pretty much the same type of expenditures that have been funded with donations in the past. The summer library apprentices, the special programs in the library, in the parks area, the warning system, outdoor weather warning system in the parks. There's tree planting, and then they fund some special events. Beautification will continue to pay for some of the mowing, tree planting, and the holiday decorations is paid from beautification. On fire donations, it goes to pay for the summer fire camp and the Easter egg hunt. And there's also $30,000 dedicated for public art in beautification. We also have donations for the Train and Grain Festival and other community events in this fund. And last but not least, the General Escrow Fund. This is kind of a catch-all. It's where we account for special revenues that are collected for a specific purpose. They don't warrant their own fund, either because they're sporadic or because they're small in nature, so we lump them together. We don't lump them together. We put them all in the escrow fund, but they're separate cost centers, so we can keep track of the different revenue sources separately. The main revenue sources here are hotel motel tax. We use that to fund the promotion of the arts, entertainment at some of the special events, as well as city advertising and the farmers market management contract. We also account for court technology and court security. With every citation that is written, we collect fees that are to be spent on court technology and court security. That's where we pay for the bailiff for court out of those funds. For court technology, we pay for the ticket writer and the municipal court software out of that. We also have PEG fees that we collect, and that's budgeted here. And the biggest expenditure for next year is we also collect developer contributions for projects. And so we have contributions that have been made by developers over the years for North Old Decatur Road, and that is what the big expenditure is proposed in this fund for next year, is partial funding for that project. And again, just the details. The next steps, we've got the meeting on Saturday to go over in as much detail as you would like, the proposed budget. We're waiting for our certified values that we should receive by from TAD on July 25th. As I mentioned several times, the preliminary proposed budget just has estimated values, and so the tax rate, I can guarantee you, is not going to be that, but that was the best we could do with the estimates that we have, but we will have it precisely calculated for you by the 28th, and then we will revise our proposed budget. We'll have a special meeting on the 29th to review those tax rates. There will be a public hearing regarding the budget and the tax rate on August 5th. And then on August 12th, we will have a special council meeting and public hearing to adopt the tax rate and the budget.
Any questions for Kim? All right, so this weekend, budget retreat, get excited. Saturday morning, right here. So come on. All right, thank you, Kim. Appreciate the update. 3D, 2025 work plan update. City Manager Gabe Ram.
Mayor and Council, happy to provide an update on our work plan projects. So as you're aware, the City Council each year establishes a priority for the coming year by resolution adopting work plan projects, and then we report progress throughout. So I'm going to go through each of these projects. We have a brief summary. If you have any specific questions, the various departments that are kind of in charge or involved can answer, and we're happy to be moving forward. Community Garden Committee, you might recall 2 meetings ago, or maybe the last meeting, we had a presentation from some of the folks involved. The charge from the council at that point was to come back with some operating guidelines and bylaws for a future city council action. My understanding is that research or that activity is underway, and we should have some resolution before the end of the year. I'm confident of that. I know maybe some of our council members have had discussions. Yeah, so we're moving forward. Yeah, very good. Relocation of the depot building. So we have not made any progress yet. I haven't started that. It's somewhat timely.
I didn't know it was such a dangerous location, honestly, so I guess we need to move it quicker than I thought.
Unfortunately, the building and code had more excitement in their lives than what they needed. A driver early in the morning, you may have seen pictures, hit the employee parking, and I think hit the initial vehicle and then crunched the others. So we've got a pretty large insurance claim on that, multiple vehicles. So the long-term idea from the City Council is that we'll relocate to some other site. The depot building, you might recall, that land is not owned by the city. It's leased from BNSF. BNSF has expressed their concern with having a lot of traffic near a busy rail line, so I think it's their desire to, at some point in the future, to not continue with that arrangement, so we're thinking about it. Happy to announce that by your action this evening, this project design criteria, it's reached a conclusion. I feel like the process has been great with council members involved and feedback from the community. So this one we can check off the list. We are reviewing Melanie and Lee model policy samples for updates and changes. That'll probably get some more attention the end of this summer and the fall. Lee has, it's sort of interesting that he's here. He's been nearly chained to the Library and Senior Center. I think people run food and snacks to him every once in a while. No, he's been very busy with that, but we
See,
intend
he doesn't eat that much, so
that's true.
I wish I ate that well, but he does not, yeah.
He's a health guru. I always, yeah. So anyway, we anticipate to have some activity in coming months on this project. This is kind of in a holding pattern. We're waiting to hear from council direction. This may be something we talk about briefly on Saturday. So our bond projects that were prioritized by the bond committee, they're still there. The matter is when the city council would like to bring that to voters. I think that given the biggest discussion is related to the potential future animal shelter facility, it may be best to wait until next year, until May. If we were to call an election for November, that deadline is pretty soon. It's about the middle of August. So I wouldn't recommend we do November. Of course, this is something the city council will direct us. So we're staying as is. Now, should we call a bond election in the future, we will have a series of public meetings. We may have some site visits as appropriate, kind of follow the same procedure that we did last time to inform voters, and that is staff's role. It's not to advocate one way or another, just to provide information so that voters can make a decision.
Before you move on, one of the things, I mean, when we talked, we did talk about this quite a bit, it did get taken. One of the things is like the roads.
Right.
Is we had talked about a lot of citizens don't understand it. They don't understand the cost, why it's so expensive, how it's determined, where the money comes
Yeah.
from. A lot of people think, well, we pay a gas tax, right?
Yeah.
Why the heck are we, a good portion of the gas tax goes to road. Why are we having to pay extra? And the reason for that is because federal and state governments involved in that, right?
That's
So
correct.
They don't know that. So I remember we talked about having some things put on YouTube, things like that, and maybe, things like that, did you know?
Right.
How are we doing towards that? I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, no, I think just generally, even if we weren't considering a bond election, that would be good and something we'll look at in the near future. Specific to the streets, the nice and kind of rational basis for determining the projects is based on the pavement assessment. So essentially, we've taken the streets in worse condition, and those have been bumped up. Happy to report that one of our worst condition streets, and that likely would go to voters, Industrial. You might recall the intersection, so from Blue Mound Road in Industrial right there by Fuel City to, is it like 300 feet back? 600 feet heading to the west. That's going to kick off within the next month, and that's a joint project with TxDOT. So TxDOT funds, our county commissioner supported us. For the average person, and to Councilmember Lawson's point, you see that intersection or you see that stretch of road and say, hey, let's do it. This project involved like dozens of utility relocations. There was a natural gas line underneath that had it. So Rick Trice, who now that he's retired, he's kind of like a fun uncle that comes around to shoot the breeze. Randy informed him that this project, because this is something he worked on, I think 5 years ago, you know, he said, hey, we're finally getting close to construction. He said, well, I didn't think that ever happened. So thankfully, we're close to action, but to your point, I think education is great, regardless if we're you know, doing a bond election or not. Some other projects that are kind of related to streets, you might recall we are, the other worst condition-wise street would be McElroy, the east section. We're working on maybe beginning design on the easternmost section sometime next year, and we have TERS funds available to do that. That was kind of the rationale. So definitely happy to inform residents. Our newsletter, I think our new one just went out yesterday, or?
So it went out the mail about a week and a half ago.
Okay. So
Can't control the mail, but it's electronically available online.
yeah, that may be a feature, kind of informational, and definitely if we were to proceed toward a bond election, we would send out a mailer as was done in the past, so. Yep.
So, on a council meeting before I was on council, there was mention of, I think there was a presentation from Quorum to do an estimate for the animal shelter and do
Yep.
an analysis, a comparison of like, so where are we at in that? Do we have that information yet?
Yeah, so I think, may defer to Lee.
Yeah, we've had a couple of follow-up meetings with Quorum. They're preparing some cost estimations in various scales of construction materials and going to present some potential floor plans based on those, hopefully sometime probably in September.
Thank you.
So has the, I mean, we had the bond committee that kind of did that, and there was three. There was the roads, there was animal shelter, and then there was parks.
Right.
I mean, kind of the way I look at it is council tabled it because there was more work that needed to be done for all three of them.
Right.
And where were we at with that work? I mean,
So honestly, I think where we are now, with maybe the exception of the what we had just mentioned about the second assessment of the animal shelter facility, it's just a matter of the council choosing projects. The streets, we have the list on priority, which is prioritized based on condition. The parks projects were reflected the priority of the bond committee, so it's just a matter of if this council wanted to call an election, pick the projects, pick the amount, minus the animal shelter. We had the architect that's going to come back within a couple months to give us an update. I think part of their scope, in fact, I know part of their scope was to show bid tabs of similar projects that are recent. I think since that time, Fort Worth is looking at some rehab work or something in an existing facility. So, but that'll be coming soon. That's really, as you all know, that was the most drew the most attention. Next project, happy to report again. We've talked about it a few times, but Training Grain is moving back to Willow Creek Park. We've got a special events committee that's been active. I think some of our council members have been involved. Don't really know that I have any news per se, but we're moving forward. I think that involving vendors, Community Link, managing that would definitely will take a lot off staff, because that was kind of a pinch point in past years. And then we'll talk about another item that's related in our agenda, but parking. The Parks Board reviewed some parking needs and is recommending a parking addition in that area. Another item that's kind of in sort of research and discussion phase, the idea of the council was to create what's commonly known as Friends of the Parks in other cities, or a nonprofit to kind of help and promote all the work related to park improvements that's being done. This was presented to the Parks Board, and I think they just want a little more information. So that's where we are. This will be another discussion item for the Parks Board in the near future. And the good news is this is not like unplowed ground. there's plenty of cities that have Friends of the Parks or very similar entities, organizations. So we'll keep talking about that in the next few months.
So if we talked about Friends of the Park, that would be a 501c3, which would not be tied to the city, and so therefore, they could go off and do whatever they want.
They could, as far as the organization is related, but I mean, really, the city council controls what would happen in public parks. So we have a pretty successful model that's already in place. The Animal Services has a 501c3 that's really, to Jose, his staff's credit, they've been able to get some good donations. And a lot of donations came because they have the nonprofit. So some of these organizations, and especially the bigger dollar amount ones, they're not going to donate unless it's favorable for tax exempt. So yeah, that's the thought. Next project, decorative lighting. So working on, I think some of y'all saw the demo, which was several months ago now. It was pretty cool on the Jarvis tank, projected color. And of course, you can see that tank, I think from 35 or close to it. I mean, you can see it from a ways away. Trying to get another quote and trying to read here. Yeah, I guess a finalized quote. One thing we might consider, you may recall from past workshop related to the utility fund, we're looking at a tank rehab and repainting project within the next couple of years. We may be able to include lighting as part of that, something to consider. But I think everybody that was there, I know we had 3 council members. It was pretty neat. And
So is that something you all kind of maybe recommend, is to hold off on this until we do the Jarvis revival?
I think that would make it kind of a natural, it would make sense to look at it at that time, and we may be able to include it as part of that project, so.
Part of this, when we kicked it off, was doing something with the grain elevators, and it kind of went quiet with that, something we may want to look at. I know Pedro had some discussions with the people doing the stuff for the library, that the projection technology is a lot better stuff now, and that maybe we're less expensive and worth looking at.
Sure, yeah.
So is this something, I mean, council, can we give them direction to go ahead and let's go off on this till we revitalize that building together? That way they're not burning energy?
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got direction?
No, that sounds good. Yeah, we'll keep talking about it, but kind of consider it pretty well complete for now. Very happy to report the old fire station project. Mad Concepts, I think, in the past several weeks has been there almost weekly, or? Yeah. As I understand it, they are trying to determine how much of the bays of the existing building they can renovate and repurpose. There was some discussion about the heights, because as you know, the drainage is really challenging. So I think the thought is they're going to raise the elevation in the bays. So yeah, we're hoping to get maybe preliminary plans within the next month or so. Do you know? I haven't had any. Have you had any? Yeah, but they're definitely engaged. Their civil engineers and their architects have they've been working. So happy to, hopefully.
Last month, some of us went over there for dinner, and HH Burger, it's a good burger, it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But their concept of the outdoors and how they utilized it, and while we were there during the week, there was a lot of parents, a lot of kids out there, they have games and for kids to play, they have a fence around, so, kids can't get too far away. And I was extremely impressed, I'll be honest with you, that's what we need, something like that.
Yeah, if you haven't been out there, I encourage you to go out there, because it is a neat thing to see. If we get that or even better, I think would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and I just saw that North Richland Hills, they just did something with them as well for a Jake's and another restaurant.
Yeah, that's right. So Northridge and Hills approved a similar agreement. It's on some city-owned land, so they're using land as an incentive. The two restaurants in that deal are the Jake's Burger and a Taco and Avocado, which is kind of a fast casual. I've never been. I've heard it's good. I think our deal's better because I was going to say Railhead, Split Rail, is a sit-down restaurant, or more of what most people would think as a sit-down restaurant. So I'm excited for that. And to the council's point, if anyone gets a chance, go to Alito. Was really fun, very family-friendly, outdoor. Tear around outside with the kids. They had some yard type games, and just are really fun.
If you go on the weekends, they have a fajita bar outside and stuff, so.
They make fajitas.
Yeah, they do some kind of, it was fun. Really nothing to report on the tree assessment. We should have more to report in the future.
How many trees has our pet beaver eat this year?
Have we had any casualties?
Yeah,
Two,
You want to trap a beaver, Nikki? Is that what you're offering?
If you could turn him to get the
I actually do have a question about that.
Okay.
And I know Trent's not here, but he had talked about the ordinance for the trees on the McElroy project. And I noticed on Knowles that there's trees that are very, very close, that are mature trees that we left. So if we're looking for an example, maybe that's one that he could look at. I didn't know if those trees were included in this assessment or.
Yeah, I think we're going to look at all the trees, but that would be, and that's been dragging forever. It's nice to see that they're finally planting. It's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, but the new trees are really close to the sidewalk and the road, but the old trees on the, I guess it's the east side.
Right.
The sidewalk goes right, it's a new sidewalk and it's right there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if, obviously he's not here, but, something to maybe have him look at.
Sure. No, that's a good point. This project thankfully was completed. We've got our transparency star, which we're very proud of. A lot of work from Kim and Elizabeth on that project.
So where have we, I never did see us officially have a thing on this. Brought them up here.
We did a recognition at a city council meeting. I remember that. I don't know. Do we have the star on the website somewhere?
We
or-
do.
Yeah.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very proud, and I think the part of their criteria is there's a certain amount of clicks. So if someone's looking for information, they can only go 3 or 4 clicks on the website to get there. So happy we've done that. It's something we've made no progress to discuss engineering and design services. So Councilmember had mentioned about some of the misconceptions about street funding. There's a lot of misconceptions about engineering and the way projects work. There's a sort of bizarre kind of post that.
Misinformation is the word you're looking
yeah.
for.
Somebody.
Some of it's deliberate misinformation as
Well,
well, deliberate ignorance.
It
So-
makes life exciting, but somebody alleged essentially that the city engineer gets a percentage cut of every project, which is ridiculous, and alleged yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that confuses people is when you're doing engineering, architecture stuff, bid can't be the primary, can't be killer.
That's correct. Yep.
If you're building a bridge or a multi-story house, you don't want to go necessarily with low bid, right?
Right.
And that's the reason for that. And it confuses people when they say that, and then people can easily take that and twist it into a single source supplier,
Right.
things like that. So this is another one of those, I absolutely agree, just like I was talking about the roads. We just need to have some, take Pedro, he's put a few of them out there, get out there, have somebody walk them exactly how the process is, how do we make, show that we've got,
Yeah.
integrity and stuff behind it. So I think it'd be excellent.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Another design services that's timely given the facilities, but architectural services. So it's the same, you don't select based on low bid, you select on most qualified. So, yeah, happy to discuss that further. There's also some discussion of why we don't have a city staff, city engineer versus contracting out this services, and the simple answer is it's more efficient to contract out, and then really probably in a handful of years, we're going to be pretty well built out, these big tracks, mixed-use developments, and it probably would make sense for the day-to-day to have a staff engineer. A lot of what the city council, what the average resident doesn't see that's engineering related is directly Randy and Public Works. So because it's so flat here, there's always drainage issues. This is kind of boom to bust, but development review. So our city engineer, Kimley Horn, provides development review. Every time when a new project comes in and people submit plans, even though it costs us money, we have to have them reviewed. So, but again, once some of these projects are completed, that's going to come down, as well as our bond projects, so as we finish them. But all good discussion and things we can explain. I sat in on a short portion of the implementation team for Oracle. So we're transitioning to Oracle for our enterprise resource planning, our financials, and our umbrella software system. I think it's amazing. I think that it's going to create a number of efficiencies that we'll probably see in years to come. The thought is that finance, utility billing, HR, that's the priority, and then we come back and look at a work order module to add in the future, which Oracle has. The nice thing about Oracle is, this is I'd have to think, my spare time I enjoy stock picking, but Oracle's probably a Fortune 15 company, large company. There is nothing we can throw at them that they can't handle. So that's the thought. I think that probably times up nicely with our existing work order system. They will phase it out and not renew, and then potentially go with a new product that fits in with the Oracle system.
So I think you said the budget was up next year, right? 2026?
That's, yeah, I think September of 26. So yeah, our next budget cycle, we'd probably look at that,
Well,
which
I
would be
know that
FY 27, yeah.
Yeah, I'll not vote for another penny to be spent on the one we got. It'd be better off to use paper and pencil.
Right.
But yeah, Oracle, I mean, the private sector has been using Oracle for what, 15 plus years? It's nice to see that the public sector is finally beginning to maybe catch up a little.
Yeah, and I think aside from the public works portion of it, some of the HR and the employee records and that sort of thing, to be able to move to where we're electronic is going to be a tremendous efficiency. So we're looking forward to it. This project essentially is completed to review the rental inspection program. The only wrinkle I would say is that probably at our next council meeting, where we likely will have a short-term rental ordinance that will come for the council's review and action. But thankfully don't have much to report. Rental inspection program consistently, it's a smooth, well-oiled machine thanks to the building official and staff. I think with a number of new units this year, you might recall that the rental inspection program is self-funding. It's fee-based. It doesn't require any tax dollars, so that the user, the landlords are paying for the cost of the program. I think our fee is supposed to decline a little bit because we're adding so many more units. Now that's requiring more staff time, but as we build out, to the credit of Larry, and forward thinking, the thought is that when we're built out, we're going to be in maintenance mode, and probably the vast majority of the day-to-day activity of building inspections will be related to rental. So we're in a good spot. Yeah.
So this was adopted before I was on council, but has there been talks of having the inspection, the physical inspection only happen when there's a change in tenant?
Like occupancy, the inspection
Yeah.
of change in tenant, as opposed
Instead
to.
of doing it every single year, just doing it when the tenant changes, but still charging like an annual fee for the rental, but only doing the inspection. So that way the fee would be lower because there'd be less demand on inspectors.
I'll let Larry speak to that, but what you're saying is if we had a tenant for 10 years, they would only get one inspection in that time frame, essentially?
Well, I mean, you could also put maybe a clause in there that it was be scheduled every other year or every fifth year or something, but just to reduce the cost,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I guess the flip side of that would be you'd have some units turn over multiple times in a year, but I
Sure.
think I understand. I
Yeah.
mean, are we every other year now? Yeah, so, but it's a good observation, something we can probably look at maybe in the future.
And in part of the review, I think all that's looked at, but I would really want the building official to speak to specifics. He's more familiar with it than what I am, but.
Right. Okay, yeah. Do you have anything on that? I mean, I just didn't know if it was discussed before.
The only thing I would add is that so far, the success has been going every year, even though you have the same tenant. The problem is not the tenant typically, it's a lot of the landlords just don't fix them. So going, all right. So going there every year has really, to me, proven to be that success because of that. It's repetitive. We're going there every year. We're already seeing a decline in the issues that were there previously. So we can look at that, but right now I would say kind of like the way it's going. It's smooth and we seem to have been good success with it.
And those inspections are scheduled, right?
Yes. The tenants actually schedule those inspections. We don't.
Perfect.
They actually can call and put it on a calendar and then we go.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
I think this is our last project. Thankfully, this project is pretty much complete. We have a city staff team that will deal with ADA-related matters in the future. Maria is our designated ADA coordinator. So yeah, this is pretty much another one to check off.
Good.
Make sure. Yeah, and that's all I have. So happy to answer any questions. I'll have another report in the near future.
Any questions for Gabe?
Keep moving forward.
Any additional questions?
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Good update. All right, we're moving to number 4. I have a question. I need to wake up our city attorney. I have a question for it. So 4A is really considered moot since our ordinance passed that we moved around. It's a public hearing. I still need to hold a public hearing, I assume? How does that work?
So what I suggested, Maria and I spoke briefly before the meeting, and I would give, if the applicant's here, give the applicant the opportunity as to whether or not to go forward. If you want to allow them to withdraw the application as moot, they can. Because the approval of the carport ordinance contains a penalty clause, it's not effective immediately. It has to be published. And so, but the SUP is the same way. It also contains a penalty clause. So it just depends on whether the applicant wants to go forward or not.
I think the applicant's here. Do we want to go for it? It's up to you. We can move forward, or I think we're going to refund your money anyhow, so.
So we are going to refund him.
We're gonna refund the
Because that's the
money?
only thing I was wanting,
Okay.
is, I was gonna make an amendment that we refund him his money.
You good with us? Yeah, we're good. Since we passed the ordinance, so yeah. Thank you for coming in, but appreciate it. All right, so we'll skip over 4A. Thank you, and thanks to.
So he's good to go then, as long as he's abiding by the.
That's correct.
That's right. Yes, he can avail himself of the ministerial process.
Yeah. All right, so thanks everybody getting that ordinance done. So, all right, so 4B. So at 7:09, we're in a public hearing. Consideration and action regarding a request for specific use permit to allow a special event venue at 620 Saginaw Boulevard. Susie, welcome.
Good afternoon. So this is for a special use permit for a special event center at 620. It's the old mattress store. Essentially, they're trying to repurpose the structure. They're going to be doing a Nepalese restaurant, and that is permitted by right, the restaurant aspect of it. But additionally, they're going to have, or they're proposing, an extra room where they can have special events such as micro weddings or birthday parties. I believe the seating was only 34 for the entire building, so they could probably only have about 100-ish within the extra room. But I don't know if the applicant is here. Oh, yes, never mind. They're able to talk a little bit more about that with the contractor, but essentially the specific use permit is just for the event center aspect of it. So I'm going to have him speak on his
Great.
behalf, and then if y'all have any questions.
Yeah, please come on up. Please, we'd love to hear from you. Just introduce yourself for us.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. My name is Arjun Casey, and I'm a contractor and designer for this project. My background is I'm artistic. I have artist background, and I run design and build company. So based on the structure of the existing building, we came out to add additional 2,000 square foot building to make it as a whole, because right now existing building looks really undefined. So we are trying to make it more beautiful, adding the structure. And right now we have 2,000 square foot as existing. And it used to be mattress depot, so we have to work entirely inside. Same time, as we are working everything inside, we are proposing extra 2,000 square foot for additional family event and intimate event. Everything will be applied to the city as far as our concept last time. I don't know if we have the design portrayed on your screen, but I did submit the design to look at it. So it has some kind of artistic fusion. So we have used German smear brick, stone, metal facade to make sure that area looks up to standard for the coming future. And as far as the menu, we are trying to bring very unique menu. It's a Himalayan food from Nepal. It will have a little bit fusion of spices, and that's pretty new for this area. And recently we checked a lot of relocation of our community. We saw a lot of people are relocating in Saginaw and Blue Mountain. So that's where we brought this concept from Irving to Saginaw, where we have successful record of running the businesses. So we are here to ask your approval if we could go forward and establish our concept as a reality.
Any questions, council? Specific questions on this project?
Any questions?
No question, just a comment. This will make Saginaw Boulevard look a whole lot better.
That's what we are trying, so.
Hear, hear.
I have a comment. One of the tenants in the building that's behind that said he's really looking forward.
Really?
Yeah, he saw the design and everything and said that he's really looking forward to the update. So, yeah.
That's a good point, yeah. All right, anything else? Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Thanks,
coming up. Susan, what else you need to tell us?
I was just going to let you know, we did receive a reply form for this one from the adjacent property. I don't know if you have it in front of you.
I don't have it.
No, okay. It
That's a
was.
different one.
It was from Pizza Hut, and they were just essentially concerned about the parking. It was discussed at the Planning and Zoning Commission. Essentially, they have enough parking lot spaces for the restaurant aspect. We don't necessarily have one for a special event center, but they're meeting the minimum for the restaurant aspect of it.
Okay.
And just keep in mind, a lot of these individuals attending the special event center will probably be coming in multiple cars together, so it kind of narrows that down as well. But that's the only thing that I wanted to just put on the record, that we did receive a reply form.
Okay, thank you, Susan.
This was brought up, that was actually brought up at the P and Z. It was a Pizza
Yes.
Hut owner. And then they've got more than enough parking, if I remember right. And I thought the Pizza Hut guy said it wasn't an issue during the P and Z once he found out how much parking they had.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, they are meeting the minimum requirement right now.
Yeah.
And Pizza Hut does have its own parking. They were really ecstatic to have the restaurant coming in. They were just concerned about people possibly parking within the parking spaces of Pizza Hut just because they had limited, or what they feel is limited. But another thing to keep in mind is the special events are probably going to happen on the weekends anyways, where this shopping center is a little bit more vacant than usual, so they'll have ample parking lot in addition to that.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up that it was brought up at the P and Z.
Yes, sir.
And parking was not an issue.
Yes.
Isn't that Pizza Hut going to be like a grab and go anyhow? It's not going to have indoor seating, as I recall.
Yes, it will
right?
be a grab and go,
Yeah.
but I think they were just concerned with having limited or many issues just with other of their locations with the same concept.
Gotcha, okay. Thank you. Council, any other questions on this? All right, so this is a public hearing. Anyone from the audience can speak on this. You don't have to fill out a form. You can just approach the microphone and speak on this issue if you have any comments or questions. If not, at 7:15, I take us out of a public hearing, and I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we approve 4B as written.
Okay. Valerie, second? All right. Motion passes. Welcome to Saginaw. Look forward to working with y'all. Good luck. Thank y'all. I'm ready to eat. Invite me. All right, moving on. 5A, consideration and action regarding the installation of a monument sign at Highland Station. Director of Public Works, Randy Newsom.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is an item that's very asked of me to come back to council with a quote for a sign, monument sign at Highland Station. Where there once was one before, and it got took out during the construction, or the reconstruction of 156. So I reached out to the company that did the monument sign. He's done work on all the monument signs. He built the one up at the community center. Does really good work. He went over and looked at it, and in your package, you see there's a rendering of what it looks like. We can add anything that we want to add to it. This is just kind of a first go for y'all to look at it and see what you think. Total cost is $27,773 to build this thing, have electricity.
It looks good.
So I'm the one that brought this up from the citizens of Highland Station. And we had huge discussions on this during the council meeting. And one of them was, it came up that we kept the Highland Station thing, and that we're supposed to be incorporated into this. I don't see anything for Highland Station here. I see, not that I got a problem with it being Saginaw, but the leaving here was having a sign that had Saginaw with Highland Station incorporated in it.
He can do that. I'll talk to him already about that. He can
Okay.
add that into that.
Okay. Can we get a drawing of seeing how that would look?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm all for this. I like it.
Yep. We can put there's a thing I asked about the backlights of the.
Yeah, I had asked about if we could put on one of the columns, maybe the rusted metal with the silver letters backlit with Highland Station or something on it.
I can go back and get that.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the thing. I mean, if we could, I ain't saying it may be more expensive to use the one that we already got. I don't know, but definitely needs to have Highland Station on it somewhere.
As long as it's got a big, huge welcome to Saginaw, I'm happy, so. Because this is not, it didn't used to be Gateway. This is our eastern gateway now. It really is. Coming in on Basswood, that's how so many people come into Saginaw. They didn't used to come that way. So that's why I think it's important to, say Saginaw, right here on a big Saginaw sign.
So you're against the Highland Station sign, having Highland Station on it?
If the Highland Station HOA wants to pay for it, I'm thrilled for them to do that, a separate sign. But if we can incorporate something on this one that says Highland Station, I'm fine with that. I just want a big Saginaw on it since it's,
Yeah, I got no problem with that. It's just, Highland Station had a sign. It was there for 20-some years. My personal opinion, the city should have, when the state came through there, the city should have told them to, because I know other cities have done that, is put a stipulation that they take the sign down and put it back. I've seen them do that in other cities. So, and this is a sore spot over there in that area. So, I mean.
So, in talking with TxDOT, that is their right of way.
Yeah.
And they don't have to replace, we didn't get that option. They don't have to put them back. We asked them. Their right of way.
Well, tell them to get over and get their right-of-way fixed, because it looks like shit.
Well,
Language.
I did, we have been talking to them, their maintenance, doing what they can, but there's litigation with the contractor, because I
Yeah,
told
there's
them.
there's about 3 or 4 trees over there that's either dead or dying, and, I mean, I've seen roller coasters that don't have as many humps in it as that center down through there, so, I mean, if they're gonna play that game, then let's play that game. But, you know, again, I've seen other cities have their things taken down and put back after it was done, and that's all. Highland Station's not asking for anything they didn't already have. It ain't as if they're asking for a new sign that they never had. They had a sign. Had it since I've lived here. Ever since I've lived here, that sign has been there. So, yeah. I mean, I'm okay with the sign, and like I say, if the city says they don't want to pay for a Highland Station sign, then I'll get with my fellow citizens over there, and maybe we can fund it ourselves. But then we do that, I guarantee you that there'll be a person on council that will never, ever vote for any sign or any monument as long as he's on council for anywhere in the city. Be that as the way it is. They deserve their sign back. That's what the people I live with over there, the citizens in that area wants their sign back. I voted, I told them I'd do it, so that's where I'm at. So I'm perfectly happy with it, it looks great. If we can put Highland Station on it, we're good to go. If we can't, then we'll go a different direction.
Can we table this to the next meeting? Come back with a
I can
revision?
have a rendering with the Highland Station incorporated into it for y'all to look at next meeting.
Could be good.
Do we need to table, or can we just not take no action?
If we're expecting it to come back, I'd recommend that we table it.
Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to table.
Mayor, I make a motion, we table this to the next regular council meeting.
Already second, okay. All right, motion been tabled. Moving on to 5B, consideration act regarding funding the parking lot addition at the Switchyard. Randy Newsom, Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is something that we really need down there at Switchyard. When we built the first expansion of the parking down there, there was it's called a blanket easement Adams has down there. And so we built as big and as far as we could on down there when we built the first expansion down there. They've since sent a letter over and they have lifted that blanket easement now. Adams no longer has it down there, and they said we could build a parking lot down there. So it was presented to the park board and voted on them. They voted unanimously to fund this. The county would build this. All this is just material and time that it's going to cost us. I mean, it's a bargain for what we're going to get, and the park board wants to do it. We had too many events down there, the parade, and we're moving the training range down there. Additional parking is going to do nothing but help.
So will this also include, you're building it up there right next to the other, but it'll be on the other side of the creek? Or
It'll be right next to the existing parking lot, and then it'll have another exit out over where the median break is.
Okay. So it'll be on the same side of the creek that the current one's on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Since we're talking about both of these, because the last time we talked about the new parking lot that went in, there was that roadish area there, and older people and people with wheelchairs and stuff was having a hard time, and you said that it was part of it, and that was supposed to be cleaned up.
So they're in the process right now of bringing the box down there. DDM is going to set it in place for us, and then we're going to get the sidewalk put across there.
Okay.
We're fixing to do that, and as well as the road that goes from the corner parking lot over to the switch yard.
That's where I was talking about. Okay, so you're actually going to then put another bridge in also then?
Yes.
Oh, no more bridges. No more bridges.
Or a cover with
There you go.
with the sidewalk over it.
Please. All right.
Good, sounds good. I only got one more. I seen that we had our parks people here, and they ran off before we talked, so I guess it'll be you then. Back beginning of the year, late last year, they did a ranking. I know the Parks Board, because I remember watching. They did a ranking, and this wasn't the top one or top two. So I was just wondering how, what was the reasoning did the Park Board have of reshuffling this?
I did go to the meeting where they talked about this, and a couple of the points that were brought up is they really wanted to make sure that they still had enough money left over to be able to handle the playground over by the dog park. And it was discussed thoroughly about it, and everybody agreed that we do need the extra parking with the events that are going on. It does need to be expanded, but they wanted to, with the caveat that they didn't want to do this at the expense of getting that playground taken care of. And it's my understanding that that is going to be on the next agenda for them to approve, and there is enough money left over in the bond fund to fund both projects.
Okay.
There was about a little over $800,000 residual left over from the two parks.
Okay.
Cost savings. So they'll have ample money to finish, to replace that one that's down by the dog park,
Yeah.
as well as the one that's right up here by the ball field. That's their.
Oh, so we're gonna get the added parking lot and two.
Yes.
Wow. talk
And they'll
about-
probably even still have a little bit of savings still this spends.
You're squeezing every penny, ain't you?
Yes, sir.
That's good. Great.
Well, and I wasn't able to see any video or minutes of the Parks Board meeting, but was it discussed that, maybe doing temporary parking or not paving our green space? It didn't come up. So nobody's concerned about paving our parks? They're more
That-
concerned about parking?
That actually is not designated parkland. That is just some property that
Right,
the
green
city
space.
owns.
Yeah,
It's not officially parkland, is that what you mean?
No, sir.
Okay.
okay. That's what I didn't know.
A lot of that strip there along Longhorn is not parkland, right?
That's correct.
That's what I thought.
Including that corner that we pay.
Okay.
We left it that way, so if anything, that was to come along, you could tear the paving out and put whatever you wanted in there. But right now, it serves its purpose for parking.
Good.
Just another note too is with redoing Knowles, we don't have any parking on the street anymore, so we do need additional parking.
All right, any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve 5B as presented.
Thank you, Brack. Do I have a second? Valerie, second? Motion passes. Thank you, folks. Moving on to 5D, consideration and action regarding an ordinance to provide an exception to the prohibition on the sale or consumption of alcoholic beverages on city property for properly permitted special events. Mayor Pro Tem Paul Flaggy.
Yes, Mayor. I put together an outline following the last meeting and it was distributed to everyone. Hopefully everyone got a chance to review it. I went through the TABC regulations and everything, and they pretty much define every type of license or permit and what's required for those licenses and permits as far as securing areas, and areas have to be mapped out when they submit their application and whatnot. So, and if anybody has any questions, I know we have people here from Atheneum Cider.
Okay.
So, this was one of the things too, when we talked about this, was a business like theirs, where, if they wanted to come to the farmer's market and give out samples, this would allow them to do that, and this would also allow them to, if they wanted to do the permitting and license, to actually sell at the events. The concerts in the park in the evenings and stuff might be a good opportunity and stuff for them.
That's also one of the reasons we looked at bringing Training Green back to city property and not school, because you can never do alcohol on school property, but city, we have options, so, yeah. And thanks to Paul for driving this.
So my only thing, Brent, have you looked at this, and are we good from a legal standpoint?
Yes, but we researched it, and Paul is right on. These are all the correct references preferences, happy to incorporate them into the ordinance if you'd like. I visited with Gabe, and we just discussed making sure that everyone was on board with it. And if you are, then I will make the changes, and we can place it on consent for the next meeting, if you'd like. If you'd like to really see it again, otherwise you can approve it with these changes. They're fairly detailed, and so I can make the changes without bringing it back if you prefer.
Okay. All right. So we're good with that? Everybody okay with that path forward? And then we approve pending changes, and we do approve the final and the consent agenda next time? Everybody good with that plan? All right, then I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion, we proceed with allowing the alcohol sales on city property.
I'll second.
Brack, second. Please cast your votes. Motion passes. Congratulations, let's do it. Good news. Thank you, guys. Thanks for sticking around for a long meeting. I know. We appreciate it. All right, we are at 5E. Speaking of somebody else who stayed around a long time. Consideration and action regarding ordinance 2025-12 authorizing issuance and sale of City Saginaw, Texas general obligation bonds. Kim Quinn, Finance Director.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. As you recall, you authorized going forward with the issuance of the remaining voter-approved debt, and today was the pricing. Bids were taken, and Mark McCliney with Samco Capital is here to present them to you.
Thank you. It's always good to be here.
Always glad to have you, Mark. You always bring good news.
Well, we got money. Let's go with that. About 2 months ago, as Kim said, we started the process. Today, we did 2 sales. The general obligation bond sale for $17.8 million. That's what I'm handing out first. That's the item on the agenda. We started again 2 months ago, and that was getting authority to proceed, but we started doing the official statement, taking your audits, putting it together, getting a bond rating. We had an interview with the bond rating company, came back AA, where we are, where we need to be. Just as a reminder, AAA is the highest possibility. AA plus is next. AA, AA minus, and then it keeps going down to single A, triple B, and so on. The federal government just recently was downgraded from AAA to AA plus. We're 1 notch behind the federal government, and we cannot print money. So it really does say you're doing a great job with your finances, and transparency is something else that you all are doing, and it's important in the public finance world. So at 10 o'clock this morning, actually the GOs were at 11 o'clock this morning, we received bids. We had 5 bids on the $17.8 million. The winning bid was Raymond James at 4.374%. The numbers that we had run were at 4.5%. So we're staying within budget. We're going to hit exactly where the target was for the general obligation bonds. I point out, second place bid was 2 hundredths behind them at 439. Third place bid was 2 hundredths behind them at 439.4. Very close. We won it close. Bids came from throughout the country, which is something else we want. We love when Texans buy Texans bonds, but we want more people buying. We want it because it drives down rates. So we've got interest from throughout the country, and that's good for us. And so our recommendation on the $17.8 million GO bonds is to award to Raymond James.
Any questions?
Good.
All right, if there's no questions, I will entertain a motion to award this on 5E.
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve item 5E, ordinance number 2025-12.
Other second? Motion passes. Thank you, sir. All right, now we move to 5F. Consideration action regarding approval of ordinance 2025-13, issuance of tax and revenue certificates of obligation. And it's Mark again.
This was the certificates of obligation. The first one was the GO bond for streets. This is the certificate of obligation for utility system improvements, $5 million. When you combine them with the other sale, so for example, the rating agency fee will just look at one. And so we get some economies of scale on that. This time we had 6 bids. I thought it was interesting. Raymond James won last bid. Cruz won this bid. Raymond James was second. Same credit. Cruz didn't bid the second bond. Gabe and I were talking about it a little earlier. We talked about this 2 months ago. The state legislature was messing with the ability of cities to do things. Many cities are issuing bonds this summer that they may have waited longer. I think some of this losing Cruz on this other ones, they can't take more bonds. There's so many bonds being sold that if they buy some, they got to spend the time selling them instead of taking on more obligations. So they didn't, even though they had the best bid on one, they didn't bid on the next one. That's kind of a result of really a lot of supply. We can't control that. We got good bids, still within our budget. We planned it. We knew what was going on. So our recommendation on the $5 million CO is to award to Cruz and Associates.
Are any more questions, folks? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we approve 5F.
I'll second.
Back second. Motion passes. All right. Thank you, sir.
Funds, I'll be working with Kim. Funds should be here August 13th. Thank you all very much and congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Mark. All right, that concludes our regular agenda. So at 7:37, we're in executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney, and 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiation. We will return to adjourn.
Mayor, apologize. There's a
This is 8:20. We're back in regular session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Valerie,
Second it.
Paul. Please cast your votes. At 8:20, we're adjourned. Thank y'all.
Y'all have a great week.
You're welcome. See you Saturday.